Good morning. Hello, filthy potato. Oh God, how are you guys doing this morning? Hello, Imladi Bartos. Imladi Bartos. I don't think I've seen you in my chat before. Good morning. You guys were here early. 15 minutes early. Jeez. All right. Well, excuse me. We are here. Oh, big yawn. Big yawn. Let me in. Well, you're in now. You're here. You might be behind, but you're here. You're in. I do need to go. One sec. I forgot a charger upstairs. Your B-top config is so clean. This is actually bottom. With it's. I mean, it's a play on words, right? But it's called bottom. But thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be right back. Excuse me. I'm back. All right, man. I hope part two is straightforward. I hope part two doesn't have us fighting for our life. Today's actually the last day for some people with admin code. If you did all 12 days, like, if you did all 12 puzzles in all 12 days, today's your last day. Me, I'm only halfway. Which is actually okay though for me because actually it's been a much more enjoyable experience doing it like this because I haven't felt under the gun to like stay up super fucking late every night to try to finish the puzzle, which has been nice. More content hype. I mean, yeah. No, I mean it's just more manageable. I mean, I'm not like the best problem solver, like or the fastest problem solver. I can definitely solve problems, but it's not because it's not because I'm like smart. I'm more like I'm more have like a bulldog approach, you know? Just like bite something and I just hold on until the thing wears itself out. Let's see. Is my microphone? No, my microphone's fine. I was like, is my microphone quiet? No, it's good. Maybe a little quiet. I did 2015 day 2 yesterday in a few hours. I'm still new to all this. That dopamine rush is real. I completed part 2 before I went to bed. Yeah, the dopamine rush is fantastic. It's tops. But the time commitment is pretty significant. I mean, it's not definitely not trivial at the very least, you know. And then when you start factoring in other things like life, work, all of a sudden the hours in the day start becoming in short supply. School, yeah. Life, work, school, exercise, eating, showering. All right. Let's go ahead and get a new branch going here. Good morning, Bradley, or good evening for you. How's the down under? How's Australia doing today? Was work good? Did you have a good day? It's always so interesting. You're like time traveling. I'm starting my day, you've already had your day. The down under. I thought a kangaroo jack, yeah. I mean, that's what people call it, right? That's what we refer to it. Or maybe that's what just Americans call it. Okay, so there's my part 1. So now we need to re-download day 6 to make sure we get part 2 in there. I'll give it a quick run just to make sure I'm not crazy. It is solved. Wonderful. Alright. Advent of code. Day 6, part 2. Here we go. Get our trusty Scala draw. I have 1 more week, then 3 weeks off for the Xmas break. Keen. Dude. I I pity the person who gets between you and that 3-week break. I have 1 more week until my Christmas break. I took off, I think, a full week for Christmas. I took off from the 22nd to the 26th. But who knows? Maybe, Bradley, you inspired me. I'll take off the 29th to the 2nd, too. Maybe I'll just take off 3 weeks like Bradley. You're inspiring me. Filthy potato, me too. 1 month free of school. It's like, get the hell out of my way, man. I'm ready for some eggnog and some time off. It really is one of my favorite times of year. All right, let me get hydrated here. You got encouraged to take 3. Oh, you have excessive leave. Yeah, you don't want to lose it. Does your leave roll over? At my work, we don't really have. We have unlimited PTO, which basically means don't use your PTO in such a way that it causes problems for other people. Which basically means you can, as long as you're getting your work done, as long as you're doing your job, you can pretty much take as much time as you want. But I know for some people, um, like their PTO or their paid time off or their 6 days don't carry. It does, but we have a leave policy when it comes to end of physical year bonuses. Don't want to jeopardize that. Oh man, for sure. For sure. And Bradley, I'm wishing you a big fat bonus this year, man. Yeah. I hope everybody gets a nice big fat bonus this year. We don't really do bonuses where I work. At my old job when I was a food scientist, we did have a bonus. We did have an incentive program, which was pretty baller. It was like your base bonus was 15% of your salary, but it could scale to 25% of your salary based on company performance and your individual performance. At my current job though, we don't do bonuses, which I guess is the one thing that would probably be, it's the one benefit I don't have at work that I'd be like, yes, give me that benefit. I think giving people bonuses or equity is the number one way you turn employees into owners. I don't think there's any other way you can get employees to act or care like an owner without giving them some amount of financial stake or some amount of financial share in the upside of the company. Which you would think would be pretty, like, I don't know, what's the word? It would be pretty obvious that that was the case, but for some reason, it's not. All right, bear with me. I'm going to finish this orange and then we'll jump in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Hopefully this is actually not that hard. I don't know. Maybe you do want hard problems because the harder the problem and the more you struggle, the larger the dopamine kick is when you solve it. So, okay. Yeah. Here we go. The weird is coming out of me on stream. This is not good. Okay, the big cephalopods come back to check on how things are going. When they see that your grand total doesn't match the one expected by the worksheet, they realize they forgot to explain how to read cephalopod math. Well, damn it. Cephalopod math is written right to left in columns. Each number is given in its own column with the most significant digit at the top and the least significant digit at the bottom. Well, cephalopods need to figure out how to fucking write numbers, because that's wrong. Problems are still separated with a column consisting only of spaces, and the symbol at the bottom of the problem is still the operator to use. Here's the example worksheet again. Reading the problems right to left, one column at a time, the problems are now quite different. 4, 431, 623. Thunder Deer. Oh man, the imposter syndrome is really creeping in. Well, I guess it's not imposter syndrome since I actually am not great at what I'm currently doing. I don't know. That still sounds a little bit like imposter syndrome. I bet you are better at what you're doing than what you think you are, right? And I think that's part of what imposter syndrome is it's underestimating your own abilities. I just had a conversation with my son. We started basketball practice on Wednesday for this season, and then we had a conversation about this that, it's really important to develop a mindset where you relish opportunities where you feel like you aren't very good or you have a lot to learn, because that means there is so much room for your own improvement, right? There's so much low-hanging fruit for you to get better, right? Like imagine being Michael Jordan and trying to get better at basketball. That would be so fucking hard, right? Because you're already so good. So I think it's kind of exciting to be in circumstances when you realize or you acknowledge or you wake up to the fact that, like, oh wow, there's so much here still to know and learn and do and grow and be. To me, that's an exciting spot to be in. I also think you probably underestimate how good you are, though. The imposter syndrome never goes away. The way I look at it, I try to surround myself with people smarter than me and absorb and stay humble. 100%, Bradley. You do not want... That was actually... We were walking in from bringing in the trash cans. No. Was it bringing in the trash cans? I can't remember. I was walking inside with my son, and... Oh, we were shooting hoops last night. We have a basketball goal across the street from our house, and we were outside shooting hoops. And after we came back in, we were talking about, playing against people who are better than us. And he was like, no, I don't want to play against them because they're so much better than me. And I was like, well, that's the only way you get better, right? You don't want to play against people you're already better than. You want to play against people who are better than you so that it raises your game, right? Forces you to adapt. Excuse me. Good morning, Stefan. How are you doing? Good to see you, man. Are you back? Do you feel like you're back to 100% health? Do you feel like you've kicked the stomach flu and are ready to wrestle? I like to think that there's people that haven't printed Hello World before. I'm ahead of most. Yes, you are. You are ahead, and that's the thing to always remember, is that you're further along than someone, and you're not as far as someone else, right? And those two things are the two tensions that you always have to pull on. Same thing with gratitude, right? There's somebody you have it better than, and there's somebody that you have it worse than. And you sort of have to calibrate based off of that information. Still have the poo-poos. Dude, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I hope you're hanging in there. But something really bad is happening with me? Oh, dude, that's scary. Well, that sounds super fucking ominous. What's the bad thing? I hope it's not your health. I hope you're just being... Okay. I'm switching to Doom Emacs. Okay, that's fine. God, you can't talk about your health and then be like, something awful is happening. It's definitely fine, man. It's definitely fine. W quote. Alright. Okay, I gotta figure out how these cephalopods do math. Steven 2026, man, I don't want that fucking job. Who wants to be a politician these days, you know? That's the problem. We have a bunch of old people that want to be politicians and no young people that want to be politicians. I hate to say it, but I love it for now. Well, I'm glad you found something you love, man. Yeah, I always that, and that's that's not one of the huge reasons why like I don't honestly give a shit what editor you use or what programming language you use. Like if you're enjoying yourself and you're having fun and you're solving problems and kicking ass and taking names, like I'm just gonna stand behind you and just like root you on because I just don't. Beyond that, I don't really care too much. You know, I just want you guys to win. I want everyone to win. I want everyone to win. I want everyone to get theirs. However that, whatever form that takes, whatever shape that takes, wonderful. I don't understand how the cephalopods are getting 4. Okay, it's written right to left in columns. Each number is given in its own column, with the most significant digit at the top and the least significant digit at the bottom. Okay, so 623. Oh, I see. Okay. So if we start now on the right side of this problem, we have 623, 431. Do you guys see this? I didn't see this, but basically this is now a number. That's a number. This is a number. And this is a number. Like that. Huh. Interesting. So really the solution, the solving of the solution is actually pretty much the same. It's the how we parse the input that needs to change. Fantastic. Wonderful. I think there's a min age requirement to be a politician at least 70 years old. Well, if you look at Congress, that's what it looks like. Yeah. Actually, what is the median age of a U.S. congressman? Let's see. Median. I bet it's above 60. Right? Let's see. I bet it's above. No, I'll say it's above 55 because there's probably some young person in there that brings it down quite a bit. Like AOC probably. AOC I think is. I don't even think how old is AOC? AOC age. Yeah, she's 36. So someone like that's going to bring the average or the median probably not. It should bring the average down. Probably shouldn't affect the median too much. Median, yeah, median age of Congress. The median age of voting members of the House of Representatives is 57.5. I guess that's not as old as I would have thought, but it sure does feel like those who are in positions of leadership, it's older. But yeah, 70 years old. It does seem like it just seems like a bunch of old people that are out of touch with the everyday person, in my opinion. Wayfaring Timro tried that dual format thing yet? I did. I tried it last night. Yeah, we tried it last night. It was suspect. I'll say that. That's all I'll say. I'll say it was pretty cool. Like from a tech perspective and a setup perspective, it was very cool. But from a perspective of like how it treats viewership, I'm kind of suspect about it. I'm not sure how it gets handled in the shorts feed. And that's where I want to show up. I really don't care too much about horizontal. I want to show up in the vertical feed as a vertical content creator. And I think the dual format going through YouTube isn't the best idea. I think if I'm going to do that, the best idea is probably to figure out the Atium plugin or the Atium plugin and just do it myself. The problem with that is I don't want two separate streams. You know, I don't want two separate streams. So I think what I'd like to do, this is currently where my mind is. I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to have a horizontal view, and I'd like to have a vertical. And I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to send the vertical to YouTube. I'd like to send the, how do I, why? Oh, it's so small. Why is it so small? Oh my goodness. It's so tiny. I'd like to send the vertical to YouTube, and I'd like to send the horizontal scene to Twitch. And I'd like to basically tell people, if you want a vertical experience, you need to go to Twitch. And if you want a or if you want a horizontal experience, go to Twitch. And if you want a vertical experience, go to YouTube, and just leave it at that. I think that's what this is. I think what I want to try to execute on, because there are tools. The reason why I want to do this is because there are tools that let me merge these two chats together, Twitch and YouTube chat, and then I don't have two separate videos on YouTube. Right? I have a video on Twitch, and then I have this is ephemeral. I think it hangs around for like 2 weeks on Twitch, and then this will live forever on my YouTube channel as a VOD. That's my current thinking. I know that you care deeply about my content strategy, but that's my current idea. It's pretty cool though. I mean, the feature is cool. If YouTube can just figure out the viewership thing, then I'm in. Okay, back to trying to solve cephalopod math. 0.5. They aren't fully developed if they don't have that 0.5. You're right. It's always the half of a year. The half of a year really makes all the difference. Null refer. Good to see you, Null refer. I like your profile picture, Null refer. Is that a mustache? I like your I like your profile picture, man. That's cool. You don't have any eyes, but I like your mustache. It's one of those old-timey, like, manly mustaches. Let's see, doesn't the chatting get a bit weird for the viewers on the different platforms, like two conversations are happening? Yeah, for sure. That's definitely something to consider. Yeah, definitely something to consider. But like I see the Prime, like Primogen and all those guys, they do that, you know? And I feel like chat just kind of figures it out that there's two different chats going on. But who knows? I probably won't fuck around with any of that though till after the first of the year, at least until we get through Advent of Code, and then I might screw around with trying to figure all that stuff out. The problem, the thing I have to be really careful with all of this is that the only reason I'm able to be super consistent and continue to make content is because it currently fits around all the other things in my life. And so if streaming or doing content creation begins to take up too much time or requires too much effort, I won't be able to be consistent with it because other things in my life will inevitably push it out and crowd it out. So I kind of have to be thoughtful about like always asking that question of like, what does this look like if it were easy? And if I make it too difficult to like set up and do every day, work and everyday life and stuff will just eat me alive because there's just only 24 hours in the day, right? And there's only so much time to do all this stuff. I want to take a nap, then do some code work. It was so fun yesterday. Take a nap and then get up and go to it, man. I think that sounds like a lovely plan. For school, I had to make a BKM to install Linux on a VM. What is a BKM? BKM install And I need Gemini in chat so that Gemini can help explain things to me. A built-in kernel module? Is that what you're talking about? Also went down the rabbit hole of Linux just a peek. It's so good. Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, Linux is a rabbit hole unto itself. Yeah, can't afford to get distracted. Yep, that's have you ever heard the saying, the goal is to keep the goal the goal? I used to say that a lot when I was in personal training. I would always tell people remember, you got to keep the goal, right? If you chase too many things, if you're always changing your plan, if you're always switching up your workouts, you're never going to make progress. Damn, brave Googling foreign acronyms on live stream. I know, man. I just full send it. What can I say? I'm not a professional streamer. I'm an amateur. Somebody almost got me one time. Who was it? I think it was Stefan. Somebody asked me to Google something that turned out to be kind of a troll, and I almost did it live. I still Googled it, but I did it off camera or off screen. But they almost got me. Stefan, me? Never. I think it was you, man. Somebody did it. I can't remember what it was, but I remember doing it and being like, shit, I shouldn't have done that on stream. Why did I write Linux? I meant Rust. Oh, no worries. I mean, they're equally their own rabbit hole, so, you know, potato, potato. All right, we need to figure out how to parse these columns. Okay, so at this point, I basically need to change how I'm doing this, but I don't want to affect that solution, so I'm going to go down here. I'm going to call this solve part 2. See, this is the problem. This is the problem with Next.js's pages router. When you use the same naming convention for everything, searching becomes pointless. There we go. That's the one we want. Best known method. We used that term at my old job. Oh, okay. I was like, BKM, what does that mean? Best known method. Nice. So we should get a grand total of 32, 6, 38, 27. If we do this right. Obviously that one's going to fail. And now we need to implement some new logic for parsing. So I got to blow my nose again. Was I summoned? Okay, what's our problem here? Our problem is that when we do our current solution, we end up with an operand that looks like this. So let me just print this really quick so we can see what we're dealing with. So we end up with an operand that's printed like you would expect. And so what we need to do is we actually need to start from this end, and we essentially need to turn this into its own grid, right? I mean, that's basically what we're doing, is we need to turn this into a grid and then loop over. We also need to start in reverse, right? We need to read this way. So let's see if we can make that happen. So let's do... We basically have to reverse all of this. So we can't use range of column. We have to actually use an actual loop. That or... Isn't there a... How do I want to do this? This is the... How do we want to solve this problem? Let's look back at our example really quick and just stare at the example for a real long time. That's my single greatest problem solving strategy. Just stare at the problem for a real long time. Yeah, I'm just thinking. So we basically want to start at this column, right? And so I already have it. I have this right now. I have this. I'm treating this like a grid, right? I'm treating the larger thing like a grid. And so I have the operators is pretty vanilla. There's not really anything I need to change about the operators. But when I start parsing the operands, the current logic that I do is I loop through the columns, right? And so I start at row, they start at column 0. I need to bring the... So I start here. And then I go over each row. So if I reverse that, so if I did it by row first, so let's look at this row, and then I went by column. Yeah, that's not really helpful. That's really not any different than what I'm doing. Trying to think if there's a better way to do this without nesting a bunch of more loops in there, because I think what I could do is where I'm at with my solution right now is once I build up my operands, I basically have a grid, right? So if we print out my, I mean, obviously I need to reverse the order still. That's still something I have to figure out, which is not, I think that's more trivial. Reversing the order is more trivial than figuring out how to parse this. But essentially I have a grid at this point. And so like this right here, We have 64. Hold on. Good morning, Command Bar. Good to see you. It's so odd because the random white space, yeah. Which I'm actually using a method in Go called string.fields, which essentially it's a pretty handy method. It actually looks at an input like this and basically says, okay, any place there's white space, right? That denotes a separator. So this is one field. This is another field. It basically allows you to extract columns from a line based on white space, right? So you can kind of think of it being really helpful if you were dealing with like tab separated files or commas, any kind of space delimited file. Super helpful. But that's what I'm using to for each line to establish the columns in the line. And because there's always one row of spaces, we always end up with the same number of columns. So it's actually pretty handy. I just need to figure out how to flip this. So right now we end up with a list, like for example, for column 3, we end up with a list that's 64, 23, and 314. And so what I want to do is I need to get 6, 2, and 3. So let's visualize this for a second. So if I loop over the operands and print them. Oh, whoops, I have Copilot on. That's not fair. Copilot's going to solve this for me without. That's not what I was looking for. Yeah, okay. So we have down here. So we have 64, 23, 34. So I'm looking at this example right here. I know it's kind of small on your guys' screen, but I'm looking at this bottom example here. And so what I need to do is I need to get 6, 2, and I need to get 3. Then I need to get 4, 3, 1, and then finally 4. Okay, before we do anything further, because I think I can solve this, but I think I'm going to have to do it in a very ugly way. I do this in the worst way possible, regex or some. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it in the worst way possible, and then I'll command bar. How much espresso? We've only had a single shot of espresso this morning, so at some point we're going to go make some more coffee. But I think I'm going to first try to make a little bit of progress on this. So the first thing I want to do is I want this to print first. That's all I want to do differently. So I just need to reverse the order in which we process the rows. I think that's the only thing I need to do differently. So let's do for I equals operator row number. We'll say, okay, while I is greater than 0, I minus minus, and then we'll do basically the same thing in here, but this will become I. I think. So let's rerun that, and let's see what that gives us. Okay, that's wrong. Expected. So we're getting I. Oh, we need to reverse the columns too, because we want to start on the other end. Oh, no, we don't want to reverse the row order. We want to reverse the column order. That's what we want to reverse. So we want to go here, I think, and say column equals num of columns. And then while column is greater than 0, column minus minus. I think that's what we want to do. Let's try to rerun it. I don't know. I'm making all this up as we go, people, okay? Cut me some slack. Oh, goodness. Index out of range with length 4. Line 48. While column is greater than 0, what is column then? And what is line? I don't know how to parse this good yet, so I'm just vibing. Oh yeah, you guys don't just chill, yeah, just hang out. Because we have an operator 0, 1, 2. Yes, okay. Yep. This needs to be minus 1, I believe. There we go. So we have our now we're processing right to left. Okay. So what we really want is when we get this operand now, we want to convert this. This is the part of the problem that we need to pay the most attention to is we want to convert this. This needs to become the number 4 plus the number 431 plus the number 623, which means if we treat this like a grid, if we treat these operands like a grid, we just start at basically the bottom right. Sorry, start at the top right and process column wise. The only fortunate part about this is we end up with a nesting of loops 4 deep is what we end up with. Four nested loops is what we end up with essentially, because we have to then take these operands and we have to say, okay, we'll call this cephalopod. Or maybe we'll call it transformed operands. And so we're going to end up with another slice and we're gonna say, okay, for the we actually need to figure out too, like, what is the max number of sorry, I'm lagging out. I'm like thinking about this mid-sentence. Oh snap, 4 deep nested. I like it. That's how we do things around here, you know? We roll 4 deep. We just roll up on you with our iterative brute force approaches and smack the shit out of you. So how would I do this? So basically start column 1, go over each row. It actually probably makes sense not to convert them. It actually probably makes more sense to treat them as a string. I'm not gonna do this. So then we're gonna have to iterate over our operands. We'll say for yeah, we don't want to go by row. We want to go by column. So I guess I'll do max or longest operand length, and I'll just start that at 0, and I'll say if the length of the current operand we're looking at is longer than the longest thing, we'll just capture that. So this becomes our columns in the operands is what this becomes. And so then my idea is then here we go for and we want to start on the right side, so we have to say column equals longest operand column equals I know this is not the best way to solve that, and that's what I'm getting caught up on. And I need to not get caught up on it. I just need to say, hey, we're working it out here. And we can always refactor. See, transformed operand is going to start as an empty string. Or is it? Let's do string var transformed operand equals string.builder. Strings.builder, yep. And we'll say for operand row, which is going to be, I think for this we can just range over operand row, range over the length of the operands like this. And so we'll say v and OK, and we'll say, okay, give me the operands at this particular operand row, at this particular operand column. So the idea here is what happened on yesterday's test stream? It went good, yeah. We figured out that we can use the dual format feature. We figured out that it seems like the stream doesn't really end up in the shorts feed, or if it does, it's very, very difficult to find. We figured out that it's a pretty good experience from a creator perspective, aside from not being able to see what your vertical stream looks like. I mean, you can see it in Creator Studio, but it's difficult to find it on the actual YouTube app. I have a hypothesis that dual format streams get treated differently for the purpose of the shorts feed, based on like viewership and engagement. What else? We worked on the grounds for support. We worked on the Buy Me a Coffee site for a little bit, which was fun. We got that deployed. At least the initial prototype version of it deployed. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Stefan, so it's bad? It's not bad. It's not bad. I think it just has some work before it becomes how people want to primarily send their stuff to YouTube. It's not as refined as TikTok's approach, I think. Good morning, Mike. Sorry I missed your message earlier. I was kind of zoned in there. I really like the vibe here. I don't know why it always pops up in my YouTube videos until I can't resist to touch it. Well, thanks for coming in and stopping by and letting us know. We appreciate you being here. It's my first time seeing Go as a PHP coder. Well, I'm only about 40 days into my Go journey, so we're all new to it. Or some of us, I guess, are new to it. Good morning, Agent 818. I don't know if I'm good looking, but my wife hasn't left me yet, so I'll take that as a win. The real question is, Steven, why don't you buy me a coffee? Well, if you ever come through Kansas City, Kansas, I will be happy to meet up and buy y'all coffee, okay? I will, hands down. Just next time you're over here in the States, I know Serbia's not that far, right? Stefan, you're in Serbia? It's not that far from Kansas City, Kansas. So next time you're stopping through, just give me a ring and we'll grab a coffee. That's what I get for making a joke. Steven got that micro center though. Yeah, we do have a micro center. Yeah, it's a little far from me. It's actually like a 45-minute drive because it's kind of on the Northland. It's kind of up towards the north side of KC. I mean, not on the north side, but it's north relative to where I am in Kansas City. But yeah, so it's kind of an event if you're gonna go to micro center. Yeah, yeah, dang, yeah, it's far. But maybe they'll open one up closer to me. Took me 3 hours to get there. Oof, yeah. So if you're going to Micro Center, you need to make like a whole day out of it. Yeah. Micro Center is a cool place though, man. It's a very cool place. So what we want to do here is we want to say, okay, if the length of V is greater than operand column, then we can index it and add it to our string, right? That's basically what I'm saying here. This cannot be the right way to do this problem. There is too many loops here. So let's say write V like this. Cannot use V as string. We want this. So write string V. Somebody's happy, unhappy here. Undefined I. Oh, yep. It should be operand. And then after we get through a row, or after we get through all the rows, we should print what the transformed is. So print line transformed operand dot string. I think this is what we want. So let's give this a quick print real quick. See what happens. So 31464. Okay, so that's not quite there. So this actually should be 431 is what we want here. So we're getting off somewhere. Oh, this shouldn't be that. This should be V at the column. And then we have to cast that. Now let's see what this looks like. So there's 4431, but we're missing the next number. So there should be a 6, 2, 3. And this is wrong too. This should be 7, 5. It should be 1, 7, 5, 5, 8, 1. Okay. So what are we doing wrong? I guess let's print V, I guess, here. So we'll do format dot print V. What V are we on? Got married in Kansas City, then went to Micro Center. Dude, that sounds like a hell of a honeymoon. That's awesome. So 64, 23, and 314. 64, 213, 314. Hold on. Just now I found out that philosophy is an actual proper subject. I always thought when people say they studied philosophy, they were joking. No, people get PhDs in that, man. Like, people spend their whole life. Yeah, there's like a whole profession. Oh, this is frustrating. So there's something about my parsing logic that's causing me to miss certain digits, right? Because there really shouldn't be any empty spaces here, but there is. So this is correct. This loop is correct. And this loop is correct. Oh, sorry. No, this loop is correct. But for whatever reason, we're missing the 623 value is what we're missing. I guess I would expect us to start here. And then we'd go down. And we'd go down. Is what I would expect. Then we would do 4, 3, 1. And then 6, 2, 3. That's what I'm expecting us to do. We're not doing that. So what am I doing wrong? So we're going by column. Our outer loop is our column. So we set the column as the longest operand length. I wonder if this needs to happen. So should this be negative 1, or should this be minus 1? I don't know why that would make a difference. We have too many loops. I'm ready to rip all this out and just try a different approach. 4, 4, 3, 1. I need to add another. I can't make sense of any of that. I can't make sense of any of it. Because that's right. But this is wrong. Oh, it's wrong because, yeah, it's wrong because some of them are left justified and some of them are right justified. But we're not at, but in the way I'm parsing, I'm not actually keeping the space. Yeah, I'm not actually keeping the space. So that's part of it. That's part of it, but it's not all of it. And I think this needs to be left my ass off. That was me when I took ethics class. I didn't know it was actually going to be about how people act out of the goodness for one's own sake or whatever the hell. Yeah. People gotta go grab some breakfast. All right, see you, Steven. Have a good day. Mike, is he a programmer working on a big tech or a freelancer? Are you asking me, Mike, or who are you talking to? If you're curious about my professional history, you can just creep on my LinkedIn, but I work as a quality engineer during the day, and I do not work for big tech. I work for a small company here in Kansas City. I think he's asking about you. Yeah. So I work at a small company here in Kansas City, and I work primarily as a quality engineer during the day, and then in my free time I like to do a lot of web development stuff and random projects, side projects, CLIs, websites, web apps, that sort of thing. What we're doing right now, though, is we're doing admin of code, which if you've never heard of admin of code, I'll link the website. But what we're doing right now is we're trying to solve admin of code. Day 6, part 2 is what we're trying to solve at the moment. Okay, so we got our, so there's the number we want. So 431, 623. Now the only cases that is breaking is where the things are shifted because of a space. So if there was actually a leading space here, I think we would get the numbers we want. But I think this method that I'm using to parse the the individual operands, this fields method. Field splits the string around each instance of one or more consecutive white space characters as defined by Unicode, returning a slice of strings of length s for an empty slice. If slice contains only white space, every element of the return slice is non-empty. Unlike split, what? Unlike split, leading and trailing runs of white space are discarded. So I wonder, this is just a thought I have, looking at an example. If I was to split on white space, what would happen? I guess I have a couple options. One, I could loop over every item and just pad it with white space by how many ever digits it is away from the max. So if it's the problem with that approach, though, is I don't necessarily know which side I need to pad. So like here, I don't want to or here I don't really care about padding, right? Yeah, when they're left aligned, I don't care about padding. But when things are right aligned, in this case, then I do care about padding. See, like this matters. But this doesn't matter. If I don't capture these spaces, it doesn't matter. But if I capture this space, it does matter. Just based on how I'm processing the problems. Well, what to do? Connected with you on LinkedIn because oh yeah, you guys are all welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn for sure. Yeah, I'll accept your connection right now. I am not a snobby content creator. I'm just a normal, regular human being who happens to put some content on the internet, but I'm just a normal 32-year-old dad of two, happily married, trying to get to retirement, you know? Trying to get to retirement and pass the time. Face reveal. Yeah, dude, I mean, I hope that most of the people are behind these accounts in my chat are actually human beings, you know? I hope they're not Russian bots. Damn, okay, why? This really shouldn't be this complicated of a problem. I almost feel like I need to change the way I parse each line. Right? So it's like, oh, have I seen a white space? So the question is, how would I detect, given my current situation of this, how would I detect that I have a situation like this where this number actually needs to be shifted over. Because in this case, this is perfectly fine, right? I don't want to shift these. So how do I know I don't want to shift these, but I do want to shift this one? Therein lies my problem. And right now, I think right now I have this solved. That's not really something I can know the way I'm parsing it. I really need to I really do need to capture the whole thing. Let's see, if WS exists, skip, read next set of nums and column. You said Go has a thing that detects white space. Yeah, that's what I'm using right now, is I'm using that fields method, which is why when I call strings field on this line, I end up with just 4 numbers. Because it basically says, okay, well, that's a bunch of one or more white space, that's one or more white space, that's one or more white space. The problem is I really want, in this case, I only want to split on a single white space. So how would I detect a single white space that I want to split on, right? Because I'm like, if I'm iterating through here and I say, oh, white space, start the next number. Or let's actually say this is the trickier example, right? So I'm iterating through, I have some numbers, I'm building up a number or a string of numbers or digits, and then I hit a white space. Okay, start the next number, right? Oh, I hit another white space. Did I just, so yeah, I hit a white space, which means, okay, we're starting a new number. So the first time I encounter a white space, I'm starting a new number. But in this case, I would start a new number, and then immediately it would hit a white space. So do I add, I don't want to add this white space to that number, right? But up here I do. That's the part. It's like sometimes I want to capture the white space, sometimes I don't. Like these white spaces are not a part of, that should not be a part of it. This one should be. Damn you, advent of code. Yeah, nums would be, yeah, that's gosh dang. There's gotta, I know there's gotta be a better way than what the hell I'm doing. Because this is just uglier than sin. So there's gotta be a better way. Maybe more caffeine will solve this problem. Maybe more caffeine will solve this issue. Yeah, coffee. Save me from myself. I think I think we're just gonna have to figure out how to parse this the way I'm talking about. So if if we're here at this point, which means we have found a space. If the preceding character was a space and the next number is a number, no, that doesn't make any sense. Fuck, man. Was this the one? This was the one people said they had trouble on, though, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure Pablo said in Discord, Day 6 Part 2 was hard. So that makes me feel less bad about myself. That I'm stuck. Um, the key though is the white space, and the trickiness is not the white space. The trickiness is that in some cases you have left aligned numbers, and in some cases you have right aligned numbers, and you have to persist that alignment because it matters when you convert the numbers from their left to right to their right to left, top to bottom. That's the tricky bits. And I'm saying that less for you guys. Like I know you guys probably understand that. I'm just saying it more for my own clarity. Good morning, Indersh. Yeah, I'm gonna say Indersh. Good morning, Indersh. How are you? Good to see you. Okay. Which means honestly it means we need to kind of revisit the whole thing we're doing here. So we do want to, I think we still want to read it by line, right? But when we handle these operator lines, we need to be I'm kind of wondering what happens if we break at a single space, right? What do we end up with as a result of doing that? And can we then attribute the spaces to the preceding? Can we attribute this empty space to a preceding or proceeding number? Good morning, just Jaskaran. I think it's the first time I've seen you in my chat. So good morning. Thanks for being here. Are you using scanner and string fields? Yes. I'm using. Yes, my read all lines method uses the scanner, and then my strings.fields is what gets my columns. Oops, I was about to kick my. It's interesting. The operators are always left aligned. Does that tell us anything? Does the operator positioning tell us anything about where we should well, I think the operator does tell us. The operator always tells us what line we're splitting on, doesn't it? Which is kind of an interesting thought. So hear me out for a second here. Let me just talk about this. So I know because this operator sits here that the break in the problem is this column, right? So it's whatever operator's column is minus 1. And so as I'm processing through the operands, if a white space, if the column of this white space isn't a column of an operator, then it needs to get attached to whatever. Yeah, so so hear me out. Here's the logic I'm thinking. If this white space is preceded by a number, and this white space is not the column preceding an operator, that means it belongs to this group. And I think the opposite would remain true. So if I'm on this white space, so let's say if I'm on this white space, well, that white space has the same column index as a column preceding an operator. So that white space is a genuine break. We need to ignore it. If we land on this white space, well, we know that it's not a column. It doesn't have the same index as an operator or the column preceding an operator. So it's not a place where we break. So then if it's preceded by a space, it needs to belong to the next thing, right? Yeah, I think the fact that the operators are always left aligned, we can key off that. Well, let's look at my input and make sure that that's the truth with my input too. Oh, I can't even tell if that's the truth with my input. I guess good thing I have 2 monitors. I can try to stretch this out and see if I can get it all in the same line. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to validate that without. How can I? Well, let's just make that assumption, right? Let's see if it works. If that assumption is that the operator always sits 1 index to the right of a place where your demarcating column is, we basically know actually now that I think about that, if that is true, if what I just said is true, I think that simplifies it a lot. If what I said is true, that means we always know we always know the problem, that any given problem begins and ends, right? It goes from 0 to wherever the next operator is. So if we can figure out what the indexes are, what are the column indexes of the operators, we sort of can figure out the rest of it. Interesting. Okay, so how would I do that? How would I do that? Indirect set, no. Oh, yep, that you actually. I was trying to do this in the browser, but good thing you're here, man. Because I would have just said, like, I'm going to make the assumption to move on with my life. Yeah, okay, so what Indiresh has just said, yeah, so I don't have word wrap. So this is my actual input. And you can see the operator always sits at the leftmost column of the problem. So my thinking is that I can essentially use this bottom line to help me flow through and figure out, okay, and actually I'll need to start from the other end since I'm reading right to left. I can start over here and I can basically say, well, as long as this, I don't know the exact logic, but I think that I can use this information to solve my issue. But before we do that, I think, so the operators are in the first index of each column. Exactly. They are the demarcation. You can basically use the operators of demarcation to say, we're beginning a problem. And if we're reading right to left, we can use them as the stop, as the stop. So not the begin, but the stop. So we can say, if we're going right to left, we can say, okay, we're parsing a problem, we're parsing a problem, we're parsing a problem, we're parsing a problem. When we hit an operator, we need to start parsing a new problem, right? We know we're just gonna move one column over and start parsing a new problem. Then we hit operator again, we're gonna move one column over, start parsing a problem again. And we can repeat that just how many ever times. I don't know why I didn't see that yesterday. That was consistent. Because the numbers switch alignment, but the operator never does. Like here you can see like these two problems have different left and right alignment, but the operator is always left aligned. We literally noticed at the same time. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, maybe that's the trick. That's the secret to this thing. Okay, this is probably gonna take me the rest of the stream to implement this. So I want to make coffee now, and then come back to get the coffee, come back to the desk, and then do this or implement the solution. So let me make sure the coffee thing's set up real quick. It's so exciting when you have a breakthrough like that, isn't it? It's like got to be the most exciting moment. It's when you're like, wait a minute, I know. Those are also moments where the dopamine starts flowing. It felt good when I noticed it and brought it up. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something. Well, that's good. We should all get some dopamine. Sorry, my the camera, the phone that I use as my coffee cam died. So hold on one sec. I gotta switch to it and then bear with me. One moment, please. Let's see. There we go. So it's not day 11. It is day. Let's see. What is it? It's day 12. So day 12. Looks like we're going to Mexico. Wow, I don't think I've ever had coffee from Mexico before. All right, let me set up my microphone. I know this is such an involved process. Okay, we got it. We're here now. Yeah, we're here. Oh, and I also need my phone so I can see what's going on in chat while we do this. All right, coffee from Mexico. I'm digging it. Don't forget us. Don't leave us in the office. Mexican coffee. I've never had coffee that was from Mexico. This is cool. So the tasting notes on this are orange, fig, milk chocolate, and tonka bean. I don't even know what tonka bean is, but milk chocolate sounds good. Let's see, do I have enough water? Hold on one second. I gotta get water real quick. This is what's gonna be. This is gonna be the thing that powers us to the conclusion of part 2. They weren't joking though when they said day 6, part 2 was hard, because I think you could make a lot of false starts before you ever notice the alignment of that operator. What's the roaster? I actually don't know. I'll have to click on the link. There's a link in my description that actually takes you to like the about page for the coffee. The name of the coffee is Mexico Mazateca or Teca Mujeres, which I think is teacher. Isn't Mujeres like teacher? Or something like that in Spanish. It's sourced from the Sierra Mazateca in Oaxaca, but I have no idea. I'll have to click on that link once I get back to the desk. I'm gonna get water for my thing, and I'll be right back. Well, actually, I can talk to you guys because I'm on the Bluetooth headset. I wonder how far this goes before it disconnects. This is why I need a full dedicated coffee setup in my basement and in my kitchen. My wife thinks that having an espresso machine upstairs and downstairs is overkill, but I think she just doesn't know how to live. That's what I think. Don't anyone tell her I said that, okay? I swear, chat. If you rat on me.
I didn't realize she was here. I was just kidding, honey. Love you. Up early with the baby. Just made myself a latte with some Onyx Monarch, and they're drinking chocolate. Ooh, I've never had their drinking chocolate, but I have had their Monarch coffee, and it is very good. So, are you near an Onyx, or did you order some? Because I think their coffee shops are the best part of their entire brand. I mean, their brand is really cool, but their coffee shops are super, super cool. I like the fact that they call themselves Onyx Coffee Lab. As a nerdy kid who was into science, I really liked the fact they put lab in the name. Just popped in and my husband is talking smack about me. No, I would never talk smack about you. I was just saying we have a difference of opinion. That's all. We're all entitled to our own wrong opinion, yeah, and I have very many of them. I have a lot of wrong opinions. Like apparently somebody left a comment yesterday on one of my YouTube shorts where I was talking about the fact I don't really like Python, and they were like, "Oh, these JavaScript kids, they don't know what they're talking about." Huh? All right, apparently you're not allowed to not like Python. I love that the only thing on your wife's channel is you doing squats. Yeah, isn't that good? Yeah. How did the double streaming go? It went fine. I mean, I think it's a really cool feature. The problem I have with it is I think, in my opinion, the fact that you're still streaming horizontally to YouTube, for whatever reason, causes their algorithm to treat your stream like a horizontal stream and not like a vertical stream, even though you do have a vertical version of it being handled by YouTube. And I'm guessing at some point they'll probably work that out. But I think if you want to do dual format streaming at this point and still get the benefits of being in the shorts feed, you're probably better off having two separate streams, which is not something I really want to do. I don't want to have two separate videos on my channel of the same stream, just in different formats. But it was, I mean, it's very cool. That's how it should be. That's how TikTok has theirs set up. TikTok has a really good implementation of it. I don't know how I did that. You mean you don't know how you put me on your channel? That's because you love me, right? You want me to be on your channel. Okay, so we'll let this brew and we can go back to the desk for now while we wait.
Okay, well, we had our breakthrough. I feel like that whole moment with my wife was kind of like out of a sitcom. Like, I never talk about, I never talk about my disagreements with what my wife thinks, and then, at least not on stream, and then when I say that, actually, I'm kind of being facetious because if I really wanted an espresso machine in my basement, my wife would be the first one to be like, do it. buy it. She's also the same one that every time I bring up getting a computer, another computer, my 10th computer, she's the one that's always like, yeah, go for it, honey. She's like, she's always so encouraging about the things I want and want to do, so I'm being a little bit a drama king. You should have been here yesterday, Kels, because yesterday somebody asked me in chat, somebody said, he's on the fence, dude. I'm doing the rope-a-dope. I'm trying. But she should have been here yesterday because yesterday somebody said, has your partner or has your wife played a role in your career or like your success of your career, whatever? And I gave you a bunch of props, honey. I gave you a bunch of shout out and you weren't here to hear that. I like how he's walking it all back now. Well, that's because at some point the stream has to end and I have to go upstairs. Okay, so let's see what's this algorithm gonna look like that we've had our breakthrough. So I think we actually need to get rid of the majority of the solution from part 1. I think the core solution here is still going to be the same, but how we get there is going to be different. So I'm going to delete this for a second just so we don't confuse ourselves by trying to shove the new solution into the old solution. I'm gonna pin that message. That's really funny. Steven lives downstairs now. Well, that's a problem because there's not a coffee machine down here yet. Okay, so we don't want to do this anymore, right? The operators strings.fields. We don't want this anymore. So actually what we want is we want the actual index of the operators is what we want. So and we almost want them in reverse order. Okay, so yeah. So we're going to do operator row is equal to the input at the operator row index. And I'm going to call this index now. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we are going to loop over the row. So we're going to get each individual character of the row. And I think I know what I'm doing. I think I know what I'm doing. So then we want to format .println, and we'll just print I in the string of C, since C is a room. So what we should see here is we should just see all of the characters with their index, which should be a bunch of spaces and every so often an operator. So what we want to do is we actually want to go backwards. So we actually want to work from the right to the left. So let's go, instead of doing this, we will do number of columns, or no, not number of columns. We're gonna do operator row length. So equals length of operator row. Stefan, ye rejoice, ye denizens of the realm, for I have traversed the abyss and am restored unto thee. That might be the best way to say, hi guys, I'm back, that I've ever heard. Get him some instant coffee as punishment. You will pay for your transgressions. Drink the nasty coffee. Well, choices were made. You'll have to live with that choice. Don't try to para-educator me. We must learn from our consequences. Yeah, we must learn from the consequences of our actions. Now he streams in the morning and the evenings. Yeah, that would be really funny. It's like, well, why is Steven live so much now? Oh, it looks like there's a cot behind him now. Oh, I think he might be sleeping in his office. Steven, that was an unexpected choice. Okay, hold on. I need to focus for a second here. Normally I blame chat for distracting me. Oh, the coffee. Shit, I almost forgot about it. Almost forgot about it. That would have been bad. Steven lives downstairs now. Yeah. Steven lives downstairs. Damn, that's a big cup. Like that. Why is Kelsey not a channel member? I should be able to give her like a gifted membership, shouldn't I? That would be pretty cool. I wish I could anoint people. You're a member, and you get a membership, and you get a membership. I wonder if there's a way I can do that. Steven's gonna do a watch me sleep stream now that he's in the basement. No way. Have you seen those on TikTok where people will be like streaming in the corner, and then they'll be like, they have different like interactions that play different sounds to wake them up. What a weird way to stream. Okay, coffee's done. Let's go implement this algorithm. Also, I think these headphones died like halfway through. They disconnected somehow. I'm back. Well, if you buy it for her, you're giving money to yourself. Yeah, basically. I need to make her a member. Okay. So we want to start at the opposite place. So what we'll do is we'll say operator index is going to start at the operator row length, and that is going to be -1. And then we are going to do this iteration as long as the operator row index is greater than or equal to 0. And we will subtract from the index on each iteration. And then we can get the same information that we got here from doing this operator index of operator row at operator index. So now this should let us do the same thing we just printed, but now we're doing it in reverse order. Perfect. So now we can use the index as a proxy for the column where we want to begin and end parsing the problem at hand, right? So as we loop through this bottom row, what we can say is we can say, well, if we haven't hit an operator, it's not time to start a new problem. So what we will do, as long as we haven't hit a new problem, is we'll take the column index yeah, so what do we want to do? I guess the first thing we should probably check is we should probably check operator, or let's just do current operator value. I have no idea if this is going to end up working, but this feels like the best way to do it. I'm essentially vibe coding right now. He's back, unlike my dad. That's such a dark joke. Dark humor. Sad clown. Sad, sad clown. So if the current operator value, current operator value does not equal let's see. Basically, I know there's a point in this loop where when I have a operator, I need to decrement the index twice. or I need to decrement it one more. And the reason for that is I need to make sure that when I parse my problems that I skip over this empty column of spaces. So I need to know if, as I'm iterating through this bottom row, if I hit an operator, the next time I hit the top of the loop, I want to be here, not here, basically. But let's try to focus on getting one problem out before we do that. So let's try to focus on getting one problem from where we are. So the current operator value doesn't really matter. What matters is the operands that we want to collect. And we're going to collect them as what are we going to collect them as strings, I guess? Yeah, we're going to collect them as strings. So let's do a slice of string. And then we're going to for loop over So what I want to do is we're in this column. So what I want to do is I want to go to the very first row. And I want to iterate down the rows for everything in this column. Then I want to do the same thing here. Then I want to do the same. Actually, this is actually way more or less convoluted than what I was doing. Yeah, so we just need to go up and we need to say for row range over the number of rows. And we will say, okay, great, give me whatever's in this first row, first column. Right? So how would we do that? So we need our input. We need the row, and then we need the operator index. Yeah, because the operator index is still the column. It is still the column space. So we have operator index. This gives us what? This gives us the value at that particular spot. Does anybody think that the initialization and the variable initialization and assignment syntax is a little phallic, right? I mean that's a little. I mean, you just need one more character, and you're basically writing penises in your code. Then, if any row is empty at all, it needs to skip until it sees more values. Yeah, I think though we can actually even skip that. I think we can just automatically say, well, if we have an operator, we're good. Is what I think we can do. So this will be that row. Then we'll move. But we actually need to do not for number of rows. We actually need to only go, because we don't want to go into the operator row. I don't want to go down here. I just want to go through the operand rows. And we will treat this. I think this is going to return this as a rune or a byte, but we're going to treat this as a string. Manike, thanks for subbing. We haven't had very many subs today. Thank you very much. It's very kind. Feud has entered the chat. What do you mean? We have a feud? Hopefully there's no feud. I have not tried stock crypto trading. I don't know if you're talking about me, Keyshawn, but I have not tried stock crypto trading. My investment strategy is very, very simple. I actually, if you want to know what my financial approach is, you can actually go read the book. It's called Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. It's not, I don't know how applicable it is to people outside the United States, but if you live in the United States, you should definitely get this book and read it. It's very simple. Advocates for investing in low-cost index funds, and that's basically what I do. I mean, I have some like fund money that's stuck in some crypto, but I basically treat it like it's already money I've already lost, and I just look at it every so often, but I don't really think about it. But for the most part, I just take what I earn and stick it in low-cost index funds. Oh, Freud. Sorry. Sigmund Freud, the psychologist. Sorry, I misread that word. I don't know why I was thinking feud, but that's what I read. Why is Sigmund Freud here? That seems odd. Seems like you're in the wrong place, buddy. S&P 500 big dogs. Yeah, that's basically majority of it's in VTI, VTSAX, and the S&P 500, or some S&P 500 fund. And I just try to shovel as much money as I can into those index funds and not think about it. So yeah, so I want to go down the rows, and then that's my operand. So this is going to be kind of interesting, I think. So op rand is actually going to be var op rand strings.builder, like that. So then we're going to say op rand dot write string. And once we get out of here, we are then going to do operands.append my operand like that. And then we're going to reset it all when we go to the next column. This is kind of interesting because we have the state defined within our column indexing. Yeah, I think this is okay. But after we do this, we do need to clear the string. So we need to reset it. And then we begin the loop again, essentially, but we're at another column. So how many columns is the first problem? And let's just do format.println we'll print this each time we loop over it. Let me give this a run real quick. This is exactly what we wanted, I think. Dude, that was way less convoluted than what I was doing before. So let's see. Let's look at their math. So we want 4, 431, 623. Then we want 175, 581, 32. 8, 248, 369. 356, 24, and 1. Okay, so basically, so this is the empty column, right? That's what this is. So what we want to do is after we've done this, after we've built up the operands, on each column iteration, what we want to do is we want to check what the current operator value is. So what we would do is that after at the end of all this, we would say after we've collected our operands for this column, if the operator position, the operator column position is an actual operator, we basically need to solve the problem and then reset everything, I think. So we would say if we say operator is going to be equal to the operator row at this particular operator index, right? And we'll say, okay, if operator does not equal empty space, then we know we have some sort of operator there, which means we need to solve the problem. Which I think means we could actually do something like this. Total equals 0. And when we get here, we could probably actually say operator total plus equals problem hold on. Have I tricked myself into thinking I figured this out and I really haven't? I feel like maybe I have. So dot from, and we will pass in our operator, and we'll also pass in our operands. And actually, this needs to be operand builder. And then we're going to do operand string, which is going to be operand builder string. Then we actually need to do operand, which is going to be a parsing operation, which is going to be stir convert dot ATOI. And then we can append this like so, and then we can change the type of this to int. Sorry guys, hold on. I think I'm onto it. I think I'm onto this. This would be a string. Total. Oh, and then we do solve. So let's format dot print line operator and operands. And let's see what happens. Oh, the other thing I need to do here is I need to decrement the index. So if we're here, we want to decrement the index, I think, like that. But I'm going to comment that out just for a second. Oh, this is, so we're getting zeros here because we can't parse the so we're getting zeros here because we can't parse the numbers that have padding on it. So I think what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to do strings dot trim space. Whoops. Strings trim space. Like that. Now this is still going to be wrong. There's a reason for that. So now we're actually getting our numbers. So it's still going to be wrong. So let's try to remove these empty zeros because this is where we're parsing an empty string. So let's decrement the index. And I think that would get rid of the empties. Yep. And so now we're just adding these three numbers, which are the three numbers we want. However, you can see my list of operands should be growing on each iteration. And that's not happening because every time we iterate the index, we are resetting that list of operands. So what we need to do is whenever we decrement, we're going to assign the operands to an empty array, or empty slice, sorry, empty slice. In which case then, when we loop, we should get an increasing list. And now it passes. So I think that solves it. Let me just so we can see the print statements again, so you can see the difference in what I did. Man, that, woo! I can feel the dopamine dumping into my brain. So you can see, so on every iteration, we're building up our list of operands. Then once we hit an operator, okay, we perform our calculation, then we advance to the next problem. We basically reset all the state and advance to the next problem. And we repeat that for everyone. So now we just need to see if it works for our actual input. Let's remove this stuff here. We don't need this guy. And let's return the total like that. And we'll give it a whirl. Man, that was fun. But let me catch up real quick with chat because I kind of ignored you guys. Renee, good morning. Good to see you in chat. Sorry I missed your entrance. Evening, Artwork Studios. Or good morning, Artwork Studios. Sorry I missed your entrance as well. Oh, we got on a tangent about index funds, didn't we? Yeah. What is an index fund? An index fund is basically just a collection of stocks that a lot of times they peg a particular, like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones, right? They kind of track one of those big, larger indexes, which indexes are just a group of stocks all aggregated together. Let's see, I'm trying to catch up. McDonald's, blah, blah, blah. Uncle Bob says hedge funds, hedge investment firms invest. Yeah, I just stick it all in an index fund and don't think about it. Kelsey isn't wrong in the pinned message. Yes, I got in trouble because I said that I want an espresso machine downstairs and an espresso machine upstairs, but my wife thinks that that's overkill, and I said I didn't realize she was in chat, and so I said, well, I think she just doesn't know how to live. but she ended up being in chat, so I got in trouble. Wow, Steven's really focused on this problem. Man, I had the scent. I had the scent, you know? I had to. He'll have a lot of I do have a lot of catching up to do. Steven is hard to disturb when he's focused. Yes. Focus is a superpower of mine. I can focus when I want to. I think, okay, man, I fell way behind. I'm so sorry. It's been a battle this morning. It has been a battle this morning, but we figured it out. Wait, what are we doing about index funds right now? Oh, that goes back to a conversation. So that conversation started like 10 minutes ago when we were talking, what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about, somebody asked if I had done any crypto investing, and I said not really, that most of my investing is just low cost index fund. I follow this advice from this book called Simple Path to Wealth. And that's how we got on the that's how we got on the topic of index funds. Stefan, by the way, I sent you a little something on Discord. I'm looking.
Be courageous.
Oh God,
be bold.
I can't skip it. I'll look at it off the stream. It looks funny. It looks like a funny video. Is it the Leahy guy? No, that was somebody pretending to be Sigmund Freud. The person that asked about the crypto was Keyshawn FX, I think was his name. I don't know if he's still here. The video is all true, unfortunately. Okay, well, I can't wait to watch it. Alright, let's try this on the actual input. I cannot believe I may have solved this. Because I was so stuck. Like, I was stuck, and then that was the unlock. Noticing the operator positioning, that was the spoiler alert. The operator positioning was the unlock for me, at least. So let's see. We got a giant number. All right. Let's get a hit of caffeine and then prepare for the onslaught of neurochemical goodness. Man, I'm starting to sound like an actual addict. Ah, no. That's not right. Your answer is too low. Too low. Is it possible that I need to... Too low. Oh. Do you guys see the problem with what I just did? That's not gonna work. Hold on, what are we testing? Wait, this isn't right. Oh, whoops, that's off screen for you guys. This is what we're supposed to be testing. This is the method we're calling. This is why copy pasta gets you in trouble. So I'll do part 2. And now -1. I think that's a bigger number. Let's go! Man, the air went out of me when it said that I was wrong. I was just like, what? How is this wrong? I'm glad it was an easy fix. Just call the right method. Let's go. That was one of the trickiest ones of the whole advent of code. I think that was as tricky as day one was, in my opinion. What is happening with this dog right here? That dog wants to fight. My jaw dropped. I know, right? GG's, that's right, GG's. What do you think? Do I buy the case I sent you for the funds or not? Yeah, get it, man. Why not? Is it that how expensive was it? I don't think I actually ended up going to the website, but how expensive is it? I say get it. If it's not going to break your bank, why not? Man, I'm actually super proud of that solution. Nobody, I came up with it on my own. I saw the solution, or I saw the pattern, right? I don't think I'm a terribly big fan of the fact that I have to manage the state of the string builder and I have to manage the state of the collection. I'm not a big fan of that because I have to remember to reset it and then I have to remember to decrement it. There's opportunity for bugs here that I don't really care for, but this solves it, and it solves it pretty dang fast too. Yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of it. I'm gonna say it. I'm proud of myself. Woke up from a nap even more tired and confused. That, I think, means you woke up in the middle of a cycle. If I think I've read somewhere that depending on where you wake up in a given sleep cycle, that can impact how you feel when you wake up. So because like I've heard you're supposed to only, like, your naps need to be like 20 minutes or less, or if you're gonna sleep longer than that, you need to sleep a full sleep cycle. Otherwise, you end up waking up like you feel. I feel like I heard that on a podcast. Maybe I'm talking out of my. How long is a sleep cycle? Yeah, 90 to 110 minutes. Yeah, I think this is it. It's like if your nap is going to be less than like 10 minutes, then you should just go ahead and sleep the full cycle. But I actually, that's actually a reason why I've always hated naps, is because I think I've always woke up from naps in the middle of the cycle and felt worse. And so for most of my adult life, I have hated naps. I mean, I'm so far behind. But we did day 6, and now we can get ready for day 7. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun this morning. And that's why I do Advent of Code. Is there anything I need to fix in... Am I printing anything anywhere? No, that looks good. Do git, add, git commit. I came, I saw, and I conquered. I'm further behind. Oh, no worries, man. I mean, it's not a, I mean, I'm not racing, and I'm guessing you're not racing either. So just do it at your own pace, man. You know, do it at the pace that feels doable for you and that keeps you interested and excited. I think it's very easy with stuff like this to burn yourself out, right? I think that's what happened a lot the last 2 years. that's not why I quit. Was I burned out? I just couldn't solve all the problems in the 24 days, and that was kind of always my goal. Was like, I'm gonna solve as many of these as I can in 24 days, but once the 24 days is over, I'm gonna move on with my life. But I think that is very easy if you're trying to stay on pace and the problems are very difficult. You can end up spending way too many hours in a 24, 48 hour period trying to work on this, and then you burn yourself out and you don't want to do it anymore. So I wouldn't put a ton of pressure on yourself to stick to any pace other than your own. Oh, we also need to update the README. My naps are 4 minutes. Well, that's probably a good practice. I think if you go too deep into the sleep cycle, I think that's why you wake up feeling like shit. I kicked ass on part 2. I know it's really not that big of a deal, but man, it sure does feel good when you can see yourself getting better from year to year, you know? Now GHPR merge. The merge commit. Submit. Booyah! Let's go. Actually, guys, where did y'all get your profile pictures? Mine's just, I literally just like took a picture with my iPhone held out like a selfie, and then I put a different background behind me, and I used Canva to do that. I think my wife used ChatGPT or Gemini to generate hers. Hers is actually really cool. Hers is like a dark elf looking character. My profile pictures are very boring and not creative. Filthy potato. I take 3 hour naps minimum, which is probably okay because they said a full sleep cycle takes like 90 minutes. So if you wake up after 3 hours, you're probably right in the neighborhood of like a proper time to wake up. Renee, my youngest, gets violent after a nap. Gotta feed her pizza to calm her down. Dude, naps can rock you. You know, you see all those pictures of little kids who wake up and they like stumble out of their room with their I mean, that's a real experience for sure, as an adult or as a kid. Steven, are we relatively early in your streaming history? Well, I've only been streaming since January of 2020, or I guess I started streaming in December of 2024. So last Advent of Code, I started streaming, and then I didn't really intend to keep doing it. I intended just to do it for Advent of Code, and then in like February of 2025, I picked up on kind of more of a regular cadence. So I would say you guys are pretty early. I mean, if I continue to stream till I'm 32 now, so let's say I stream till I'm 40 years old or 42. Let's say I stream for 10 years. I mean, I think, yeah, this is pretty early in the career. I mean, my streaming schedule is working out fairly well right now because there's not really a good reason not to stream. It's like at 4 o'clock in the morning, there's nothing else going on. So there's not, the only excuse for not streaming at 4 o'clock in the morning is because I was sleeping. So that makes it very easy to be very consistent, right? Good morning, Arvin. Oh, you're eating your lunch. Nice. Steven, jump scare stream happened at my 3 a.m. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I keep forgetting that some of my folks are like, we're on completely opposite time zones. I didn't mean to do that, so apologies for that alert and that abrupt notification. Filthy potato. I say you stream till you're 60. I mean, the thing is like there's really no good reason not to do it other than either I get burnt out or decide it's no longer fun or I want to do something else at 4 o'clock in the morning, which the only other thing I guess I would want to do is work out, but I already have time to work out in my daily schedule already. So I should be able to keep it up for a while. But I think, yeah, I think to answer our Rocio's question, I think we're very early on in the life of whatever I do with my YouTube channel. I won't even be able to stream at 30. Why not? Why not? Why can't you stream? I mean, I think anybody who wants to stream should stream. Like, start today. No one's going to be there the first time you stream. So it doesn't really matter when you start. I mean, if you go back and look at my streams, even with it, I mean, there's even times now, like, where I stream and there's hardly anyone here. That's just the nature of the beast. So if you want to do it, just start and figure it out as you go. I started streaming Tarkov, got like 5 random people to join in, and I got nervy and stopped streaming. Well, I mean, that's a whole different thing. If you get nervous, if streaming or hanging out with a bunch of strangers on the internet bothers you or makes you second guess, right? Like, obviously it needs to sit well with you as an individual, as a person. So I totally get that. But I more of mean, like, I've gotten a couple LinkedIn messages in the last 3 months from various random people that have said, "Hey, I saw your YouTube channel. I really like, your content, and I want to do something similar. Do you have any advice?" And my advice to them is always like, just start today. Just like sit down, turn on your camera, and just start. Because no one's going to be there. That's just the fact of the matter. So you might as well start and try to work through like your technical issues or what you want your stream to feel like or what you want to do while you're streaming, and just be consistent. I think consistency is always hard too. I think consistency in general for people in life is very difficult. Stefan, would you watch my streams? Yeah, for sure. If you guys sent me links, I would be more than happy to support you guys. Yeah, more than happy. I think consistency, though, is also very hard for people because I see a lot of people who start something and they do it for like 2 or 3 weeks and then they stop, which is fine if that's intentional. But the truth of the matter, if you want to do anything, if you want to be successful at anything, you got to do it very consistently for a very long period of time. Let's see, it's December 12th, and I know this doesn't pale in comparison to a lot of other big streamers out there, but I think if you look at my channel, I don't think I've missed a day on stream in like more than 60 days now at this point. So being consistent, I think, is also important in life, and it's hard to be consistent. Can I sort these? Oh, these are all my Call of Duty when I used to stream a little bit of Call of Duty. See, there's no views. No views. That's just the nature of the beast when you start something out. And then not only was I starting, but I was very inconsistent with when I streamed. And I think now, if I jump forward a little bit to the more recent days, oh, there's so many streams, man. Oh, that was when we were building the Discord bot. I forgot about the Discord bot. The Discord bot was a lot of fun to build on stream. Yeah. In any event, I know that I've been very consistent with it. So if you're someone who's considering it, I think go for it. No sense in waiting around. Filthy Potato, I'm ready for kiddos. The universe is going to give me a daughter, and I'm so ready. I want tea parties. I don't know. I like being a boy dad so much. I think if I was a girl dad, I'd be a good girl dad. But I really enjoy having 2 boys. I have nieces, right? So I have a niece, a couple nieces on my wife's side of the family, and then I also just had a niece. My brother just had a daughter this week, and so I've got another niece there. So if I ever want to do like girl daddish things, right? I guess I'll I'll leverage my nieces to do that. Renee, I totally agree. It takes a lot of work. Parenting takes a lot of work, um, but it is 100% worth it. And honestly, people won't admit this, but like the world depends on parents in a big way, right? Like the the continuation of civilization and humanity depends on people who want to be parents and want to be good parents and want to raise kids who become productive members of society. We all kind of depend on that. If you're a business owner and you want to employ people, yeah, like if you're a country and you want to be able to collect tax revenue, there's this huge group of people in the world that are doing this job of raising kids, and everyone else benefits from it, and the parents shoulder basically all of the burden, both in terms of cost and time. That's why I'm one of my hot takes politically is I think countries should supply like a year-long maternity leave or paternity leave. They should give leave to parents. I think childcare should be something that's affordable. All those things. Anything that supports people in raising kids and having a family on a societal level, we should support that because without people feeling like they can raise a family and have kids, you're going to have a whole bunch of systemic issues down the road. Maybe not in the next 20 years, but in the next 40 years, the next 60 years, you're going to have an issue. You're going to have issues for sure. Renee, I feel sorry for my future son-in-laws. Have you guys ever seen the movie Bad Boys with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence? If you've seen that movie, you'll understand this reference. But when they were getting ready to have my brother was getting ready to have his daughter, I sent him a message and I was like, "It's so good that you're having a girl because now we can pull the Bad Boys routine on her first boyfriend." I don't want to have a child really unless adopt a child though. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah. I mean, being a parent is something you should want to do. You definitely don't be like all these people who have kids and then resent their kids. You don't want to be that kind of parent. So if you don't think your heart's in it, just probably better to opt out. This is why my wife would be a stay-at-home mom. Yeah, I got really lucky. Kelsey, that was something she wanted, and luckily that was something I also wanted, and we were able to make that happen. So while my boys while either of our boys were out of school before they started school, she was stay at home. And then when both my kids started back at school, she went back to work, but she works at their school, so that works out really well from a schedule perspective, for sure. But yeah, childcare in the United States is nuts. It's like we have friends that pay thousands of dollars a month. They pay more than their mortgage in childcare expenses. It's crazy. Yeah, the parent club. Well, yeah, because it's an instant bond. Parents understand each other so instantly because we're all going through the same shared human experience of trying to take the raw id of another human, another Homo sapien, and we're trying to shape it into something that resembles a kind, thoughtful, generous human being, and it's quite a ride. If there's a more stable marriage than Stephen and Kelsey, then that couple will probably be glued together. Maybe. I mean, we're not perfect by any means. I mean, we have our moments, right? But I think we both have agreed that like, I choose you, and I choose her, and she chooses me, and we make that choice every day. And that make it once you make that choice, like as long as there's no alternative, like, hey, we're here, we're together, and we're gonna see this through, the only alternative is to figure it out, right? So there's not like at that point, it's like everything good comes out of that decision, right? Every day you pick each other, and then you go attack the day. And like that's, to me, that's what in a lot of like long running very successful marriages are built on. Me and my wife are glued together. We love being around each other all the time. We have yet to get tired of each other. It's been 7 years. Yeah, exactly, man. That's, me and you share a very similar experience. People pay their whole check to childcare. Why work? Just stay home. Exactly. Exactly. And I think the friends of ours who pay thousands of dollars, they make enough where it still justifies it, but it's still kind of astronomical when you think about that. When you think about, I could have a second or a third home with what I spend on childcare, that's pretty crazy. You know, that's, and those, they're fortunate, right? They're fortunate in that the sense that they make enough to offset that cost, but in the cases where neither of you make even enough, right, to offset, not necessarily you make enough to offset the cost, but you don't make enough to where if one of you didn't work, you could still pay all your bills. It's tough, man. It's tough out there. Arvin, you know what? Some of the most responsible people don't want to have kids, and some of the people who bring most childs are some of the most irresponsible people on this planet. Hey, my wife works at a school, and so we see that spectrum all the time. We see parents of kids where the kid is much more like an accessory than an actual kid, and then you see parents that are really great. There's a spectrum in anything in life. There's a spectrum. There's good parents, bad parents, irresponsible ones, responsible ones who wanted kids but now have figured out they don't want the kid anymore and they're stuck. Right? There's all kinds of weird shit that goes on with parenthood, because there's also a lot of people feel an obligation to it too. So there's a lot of weird fucked upness where like people think that that's what you're supposed to do. Then once they're there, they realize, oh shit, I didn't really want to give up my life for my kiddos. And now they're resentful toward the kids, and now they don't really want to do the job of a parent. And so they try to offload that work to other people, and those people don't want the work. And it's just a nightmare scenario, honestly. Sustaining a marriage after having kids, be prepared to be challenged to the end, and for men out there, be prepared to be wrong a lot. Yeah. My stepbrother's having a kid, and this is one of these situations where the irresponsible ones are having kids. Yeah, and you got to feel for the kiddos. My my sister works for she is a director of a she works for an organization called CASA, and basically this organization deals with kids who are in really bad situations. And when I hear about some of the things that she has to work through, some of the cases she has to deal with, yeah, there is a lot of irresponsible people out there in the world. And it's unfortunate for the kids because the kids didn't ask for any of it. The kids did not ask to be born to these people. They did not ask to be born to these circumstances, and they just got unlucky. They just got unlucky, and it's really really shitty. I remember someone in my class. He became Malaysia's equivalent of a hall monitor, and everyone was like, "Wait, how the hell did he become one?" Not the hall monitors. Good morning, Pablo. How are you doing, man? How's the new job treating you? This looks like the end of the stream. Yeah, we're getting to the end of it. We did solve. Do you remember day 6, part 2, Pablo? I remember you and Oblivious and a few other people saying, yeah, I remember you guys saying it was kind of tough, and we figured it out though. So we actually the way we solved it was we basically keyed off the position of the operators. That was what we keyed off of. Basically, the operator dictated how we figured out if we were collecting operands for a particular problem, and that was the solution we came up with. I don't know if it's the right solution, but it's where we ended. Pablo, yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that I'm glad that was actually the trick, because literally there was a point in the stream where I was just lagged out staring at the puzzle. But we got it. Yeah, Filthy Potato noticed it too, and we got it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a good. It was one of those days where it was one of those. This was, you have these experiences in life where you're like, okay, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. Wait, no, actually, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. Yes, I got this. That was the emotional roller coaster of today's stream, and man, the dopa was flowing. There was so much dopamine up here. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, we're kind of at the end. We got to wrap up and get back to the actual day job. But it's Friday, so it's the last day of the week. So, only got one work day left. We were like, yo, the operators, yeah. Good morning, Gun Highs. How are you doing? Good to see you, man. Does Pablo prepare? It gets harder from here till day 10. Oh shit. Okay. Well, good thing I budgeted, I guess, 2 days for every one of these problems. Born to Shine. My father abandoned me when I was 4. He was living his life, doing his thing. My stepdad is the one who gave me every education, respect, knowledge that I have today. I'm 34 with a 10-year-old girl. Well, first of all, Born to Shine, good morning. Thank you for being a member, and thanks for stopping in. Second of all, having difficult relationships with fathers is tough. I have one of my own, actually. I have a very long and troubled... Not so much. It's funny. My difficult relationship with my father wasn't so much in my early years, but after my folks got divorced when I was in high school, things kind of went south and have not ever really come back up. So I feel you, man. And it's really nice that you had another father figure kind of step in and help you out. So that's wonderful to hear. It's terrible to hear about your actual dad, but wonderful to hear you found a wonderful stepdad. People got good stepdads. I fist fought mine. And there's the spectrum of humanity right there. there's the whole spectrum of there's the whole spectrum. Felipe, does Steven want to be a dad? Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've got 2 kids. I've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, 4th grader and a 2nd grader. So I always tell people it's wild now. And basically, if you think of your kids, kind of the most intense part of your parenting journey, in a lot of ways, is those first 18 years of life, right? And with my oldest kid, I'm basically halfway through it, which is pretty crazy. Filthy Potato, no, to be my dad. No, 2's enough for me, man. 2's enough. I don't know how people have 3, 4 kids. Holy shit, man. This is crazy. Also, Steven, if I'm 13, what grade am I in? In the United States, 13 would be 7th, 6th or 7th grade, depending on kind of where you were born in the calendar year. Yeah. Lots of guys in IT have stepdads. Was it Pablo or someone last month who said they have a stepdad? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's at least in the United States, the divorce rate's 50-50, I think, or maybe even higher than that now. So I think there's a large majority, at least of people in the United States, who have step parents of one type or another. Pablo, my girlfriend says, "Are you watching your dad?" That's awesome. Yeah. No, I thought Pablo is my Yoda. That was the joke my wife always says, because Pablo's always trying to help me figure out why I can't do something or solve something. I'm a twin. I don't know how my mom did it. Oh, you're a twin? That's got to be a crazy experience. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I can't imagine bringing one at a time home from the hospital was overwhelming enough. I can't imagine walking out of the hospital with 2. It must have been wild. I'll be 8th grade next year. Yeah, so that's about the same for the United States. My birthday is the 21st of April, so we're coming up to it here in 4 months or so. I'll be 33. I'll have to update my statement. Instead of being able to say I'm a 32-year-old dad of 3, I'll have to say I'm a 33-year-old dad of 3. of 2, sorry. Of 2. "32-year-old dad of 2 plus chat." Yeah, we have chat. Which I never want you guys to think that I lump you all together, because I don't. But sometimes it's just easier to refer to chat as chat. But I see you all as individual people, you know. So, so I hope you never take offense to that. All right, well, you guys know what time it is. It's 7 a.m., which means, or it's actually after 7 a.m., which means I need to go upstairs. I have to make a lunch for my wife because I forgot to get stuff for her lunches at the grocery store this weekend. I need to take a shower and get ready for work. I think I might actually go into the office today for a little bit, maybe. I haven't decided. But in any event, I gotta set the streamer life down and pick up the real life. So I'm gonna do my normal wrap up. I appreciate, there's 22 of us here, so I appreciate all of you who have stuck around to the bitter end. It's very kind of you guys that do that. If you're new here and you want to hang out with me or anybody in chat outside of stream, the best place to hang out is our Discord. I'll put that link in the comments. I'm sorry, Unique UX. I always feel bad when people show up and then I'm like, hey, I'm leaving. So timing's difficult. But I'll be back. Yeah, you'll see me around again. So Discord's the best place to find us. If you're kind of new here and you think, okay, I kind of, I can tolerate this guy and his chat seems pretty legit. I like the vibe, so I want to come back. My schedule is 4:15 a.m. I know it's kind of early if you're here in the United States. That's when it works out best for me as a dad and as a work person with a normal 40-hour week job. And then I'll usually stream till about 7 o'clock. On the weekends, I'll go a little bit later. It just depends. As far as what you can expect from the streams, we're in the middle of Advent of Code for me. So today's the last day of Advent of Code officially, but I'm stretching the 12 days of Advent of Code into the full Advent calendar, so the full 24 days. So the streams will basically be me trying to solve Advent of Code, and if there's time left over, we'll shoot the shit or work on a side project or something. So if that sounds interesting to you, please stop in. We'd love to hear from you, even if it's just to say hi. I always appreciate it when people just stop by and say, hey, good to see you. I'm out. That's always appreciated. Otherwise, I'll probably see you in like a shorts comment or a video comment or something like that, and we can chat there. And yes, subscribe for coffee. See you, Steven. See you, Filthy Potato. Bye, Artwork Studios. Bye, Renee. Bye, Arvin. Unique UX, thanks for stopping by, man. I'm sorry for the short stream on your end. Pablo, have a good day, man. Hope you're killing it at the new job. Can't wait to hear all about it once you get up and running. All right, guys. Y'all have a great day. Have a great rest of your Friday. If it's Saturday for you, have a great Saturday as well. Bye, chat. Bye. See you guys. Appreciate y'all.